literature is very important. There are naysayers and people who are a bit pessimistic, who consider poetry and art a bit of a lost art, so to speak. But is it? And how can it help with your emotions? And how can it help you? Let's dig in. And this our life, exempt from public haunt, finds tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. I would not change it. That is a favorite line of mine from Shakespeare. It's up there with about 1 million favorite lines from Shakespeare. And it can be taken to mean just about anything. And in this world where it's so easy to be pessimistic, especially when you have an illness that takes you through peaks and valleys. The peaks and valleys. You know, with epilepsy, some days are fantastic. Even when you're a recovering epileptic, because there's no such thing as a former epileptic, there's no real such thing as a cure. There's still things that have to be gotten back. For me, among other things, I sometimes have trouble finding the words that I want, for example. They'll be on the tip of my tongue and I just can't find them. Or, I think I'm offending people somehow, so my nerves get the best of me and it all goes together. But yeah, that poem, I suppose, has different applications for different people, different situations. I typically read it, and I think I recorded myself reading it last year around Advent, which begins usually in early December and ends on Christmas Eve, along with the candle lighting and the wreath making, which I find fun. I also sell Advent wreaths, so if you ever want to, I'd be happy to make one with you. It's wonderful hand therapy, although the florist wire is definitely a pain. I would say if you're going to embark on Advent wreath making, keep a box of Band-Aids and Neosporin at the table along with your supplies. Okay, so getting off that, what would that mean to me? Well, of course, everyone has their own ideal, IDYLL, that they can share or they can keep away from everyone, but that's just theirs. I guess you might call it your own private Idaho. Sorry, it just popped into my head. Anyway, but yeah, you find the laughter and you find the joys and you can find deep meaning anywhere. And that poem has always, from the play As You Like It, when the old Jew comes home, much like Odysseus in the Odyssey, and is hiding out for a little while before making his presence known. I see what you did there, Will. You stole from Homer, who stole from someone else, who stole from someone else, who stole from someone else. World without end. Anyway, but it's a really great, I like the idea. I like how it works. You don't need all the riches in the world. All you really need is the love of those you love and place where you can be quiet and just listen, which can be nice because sometimes getting away, the world around you can get really, really noisy sometimes, especially if it's getting a little artificially quiet. It's why I tend to study with music. Artificially quiet spaces aren't comfortable, but naturally quiet spaces with their bird song and with their drops and drips can be wonderful. And at this time of the year, it sometimes is difficult. It's a lot warmer out, so you're able to be in nature just a little bit because the temperature is a bit unseasonably warm, which can be a relief and a blessing. And so take advantage of that. I know it's snowing in the Midwest, but here on the East Coast, it's still pretty warm. Take advantage. But why Shakespeare? So getting on back to the subject, why Shakespeare and why do I love this poem so much? Well, it just reminds me that sometimes the world is a bit noisy, especially when I'm going through a valley. Everything's going wrong. There's so much I have to do. There's so much I have. But then I can think of the beauties I've seen in nature and the mountains I've been on and the bright blue skies and the bright, bright, bright green mountains. I'll be there eventually. I love you. I'll see you soon. And the strong coffee and the really good food and the really good company. What does it mean? I would say I love Shakespeare. I think my parents introduced Shakespeare young, and I guess no one told them how filthy he could be, which was a bit of a pleasant surprise. And I remember watching this one Blackadder movie where a descendant of Blackadders goes back in time and punches out Shakespeare because he had to suffer through teachers teaching about Shakespeare, which, yeah, that can be a bit, you need someone who's not trying to bawdlerize it. You want everything. And so I suppose for me, this particular part of As You Like It just says, yeah, we're in a bit of a valley, but look at all this glory around us. Look at all this beauty. Why would we change that and give up happiness? And we can keep that happiness even when we go through a peak. So I guess that's all I really... If you're going through a valley part, you're not alone. You are loved, and listen for the birdsong.